Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. My name's Em. If you don't know, now you know. I still don't have a jingle or anything. I just realized that. I fully intended on having music before and after. Haven't done that yet. Hey, if anybody wants to make me a jingle, I'll pay you. Let me know, because I don't know that I have the capabilities to do that, which... whatever. How was your week, guys? Also, I realized the other day, well, actually yesterday, that we never talked about St. Paddy's Day because I uploaded on Monday. Paddy's Day was on Sunday, but I recorded last week's episode on Thursday. So we didn't even talk about it. No mention of Paddy's Day was made. So how was your Paddy's Day? I actually had a really good one, shockingly. I think this is the first time in 3 years that I've had a good St. Patrick's Day. Normally they always end disastrously, but I actually had a really good one. We went out it was a mix of my coworker's birthday and also St. Patrick's Day, so I had a lot of fun. Went to the bar with a coworker / friend who I'd never gone out with. Hi, Kaylee. Also, people in my real life are starting to find out about the podcast, and I don't know how to feel about it. I've had 3 people in the last week and a half ask me / find out about the podcast. Not because I brought it up. So that makes me a little uncomfortable, even though I know it shouldn't, because I voluntarily do this. But for some reason, the fact that people who are in my real life, especially people that I work with, you know who you are if you're listening to this, the thought that the people that I work with are understanding and also finding out who I am outside of work, I don't know, makes me a little uncomfortable in a good way. It's nothing bad. Sometimes I feel weird because I oftentimes forget that people actually know that I exist and that I don't just, does that make any sense? Does that freak anybody else out? I don't know. For some reason it freaks me out to know that people now understand that I have multiple sides of my life and I'm not just who they see when they're at work or wherever they often see me. So anyways, people are finding out about the podcast. Scary. But anywho, I had a really good St. Patrick's Day. How was yours? Did you go out? Did you stay in? I don't know. I went to the bar for the first time in months. I don't think I've gone to the bar since December, and it was March. It still is March, but you know what I mean. And it was really fun. I saw so many people that I have not seen in months or even longer. And that was the best feeling ever. Literally, I saw 2 of my best friends in the entire world. They are my favorite people to ever exist. And I saw both of them in the same night. Oh, it was so good. I had so much fun. It was really fun. I did feel like I had to recover for the next 3 days, which... I don't know what that says about me. I think it really goes to show how interesting of a person I am if I went to the bar for one night and it took me 3 days to feel back to normal. Didn't help that I had kind of a shitty week, which we're going to talk about. That's what we're talking about today. But yeah, it took me a couple days to feel like a normal functioning human again. So, that's that. But anyways, so how was your St. Paddy's Day? How was this past weekend that just happened? How was your week? I hope you guys had a good week. It was a very weird week. Again, we're going to get into it. But you know what is wild? It was 2 days ago, maybe? I think on Friday was the 1-year anniversary of my knee surgery, which that was a little, I don't know. Maybe one day we'll do a whole episode about my health shit and how that affects something. I can pretend that it makes sense for an episode, but basically I had exploratory surgery on my knee a year ago for a suspected meniscus tear and also damage to my MCL. Nothing that accounts for the amount of pain that I'm in every day, and now a year later I'm still in as much, if not more, pain every day. So we're working on it. I'm doing a lot of knee rehab in the gym. I'm gonna start going back to physio, even though I don't know. So that was a fun little perk to my week is me getting the Snapchat memory of me like in the hospital bed. Anyways, I think we're just gonna get right into it because I don't think I've been functioning as a person for the past week, which is why we're talking about. Okay, so basically I had a very, very mixed and confusing week. Physically, honestly, felt really, really good. Like a lot of my health issues have calmed down in the last couple of days. The gym has been awesome. Which it's so confusing when I have like a bad week mentally, but then a really good week in the gym, because I struggled so much this week to get to the gym. It felt very much like a chore this week. But then once I was there, I had like incredible workouts and I felt so good after. Like, it's a very mixed feelings about it being really difficult for me to get there and actually have motivation to do anything once I'm there. But if I do something while I'm there, it's, it pays off. But yeah, the gym was awesome and health issues have kind of calmed down. I just felt like I didn't have a brain, which I said that to a couple people this week and they kind of looked at me like, what do you mean you don't have a brain? I genuinely felt for so many days in a row, especially beginning half of the week, it felt like my brain took a vacation. It was gone. Like, there was no thoughts between my head. There's no thoughts between my heads. There was nothing between my ears, essentially. And it was frustrating. Like, I think one of the annoying parts about my ADHD is that I often feel like my brain is just not quite catching up to where it should be. Like, I'm not in the right headspace that I'm supposed to be. This was like a whole different feeling. This was not like an ADHD brain thing, not even in the slightest. I genuinely just felt like there was nothing there. There was nothing in my head. I was so zoned out all week. Like, I went to the gym Monday night with my coworker who I train with twice a week. I had a really awesome workout. Like, it was a really, really good workout. I felt really good after, but we were stretching on the turf like after the workout. And I think I just sat and stared into space for like the 15 minutes that I was supposed to be stretching, Like, it was just, there was no thought process. And then the rest of the week felt like that. I would just kind of lose the ability to think, So I'm fine now. I take omega oil, or like I take omega 3s. Before you guys yell at me to take like fish oils, I do. I think I was just not quite there mentally this week. My sleep was really bad, which kind of starts this like endless cycle of when my mental health is not doing great, my sleep really suffers, but then when my sleep is bad, my mental health really suffers. So it's like, this continuous loop of one thing is making the other worse, which is then making the first thing worse, yada yada yada. I also like ran out of my melatonin and my magnesium at the exact same time, but I don't go to the grocery store during the week, so I didn't have either of them. So I went from like constantly like routinely taking magnesium and melatonin to help me sleep, and then I just like was raw dogging my sleep. Can I say that? That's what I was doing, that like I just had no sleep aids, nothing. So I wasn't falling asleep until like 1, 2 a.m., which is not normal at all. And then I was sleeping in, and then I was like frustrated when I woke up because I felt like I wasted my morning and I had to go right. It was a whole thing, but we're working on it. The last like 2 days have felt a lot better. Got my magnesium and my melatonin in my grocery order last night, and I think we're just gonna have a better week. My brain seems to have returned. All I really wanted to talk about, I feel like today is gonna be a short episode, but that's okay. Honestly, the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about is something that I need to remind myself of so often. Having one bad week or like a couple bad weeks, it's not the end of the world. As much as sometimes it feels like, I don't know, I know this isn't just me, but sometimes I get so frustrated with myself if I have like a bad couple days or a bad week or even like a bad month where I feel like I'm off routine and I'm not doing the things that I want to do, or if I am doing them, I'm not doing them to the standard that I want. So many things, and it'll put me in this mindset of like, I have just discredited all progress that I've made up to this point, and I have lost the ability to make any progress in the future. That's genuinely where my head goes if I have a bad couple days. I'm working on it because that's so unhealthy for me to like have that mindset, but it's the mindset that I've had for, I feel like, so long that, so like this week, I was really frustrated with myself all week. I was so frustrated that, again, my sleep was bad, and then I was like, quote unquote, wasting my mornings. I wasn't. Like, that doesn't exist. That's not a thing that actually exists. But in my head, I'm like, I didn't get all of these things that I theoretically would have liked to get done. So now my day is thrown in the trash. Like, my day is over. The day is ruined. I can't turn this day around. Blah. It's not true. It's not true. Like, that is not true at all. If that was true, no one person in the world would be successful or healthy or have anything that they want in life, because it is impossible to go through your entire life without having an off week. Whatever it is, it's not possible to go through your entire life expecting to never have those like feelings or those, you know, whatever. I think one thing that is so important for me when I'm having, you know, rough couple of days, weeks, month, whatever, there is such a huge difference between burnout, depression, and just having an off week. Like, those are three very, very different things. And I think it's so crucial to understand the difference, like understand and recognize the differences between those three things, because the way that you need to act based on what is actually going on is so different. If I'm having a week where I'm incredibly burnt out, I can't treat it as if it's depression. Or if I'm just like having a bad week, I can't treat it as burnout, because they're going to have similarities. Yes, like sometimes the symptoms or like whatever you're feeling will cross over into all three. Doesn't mean that they're the same thing. You can't treat them the same. You can't deal with them the same. Burnout is one of those things that in the last couple months or last couple years has blown up. Like, just the concept of burnout, and people understand. I think since COVID, honestly, people really started to recognize the impacts of burnout, which is important, but I think sometimes it gets really, really kind of mumble jumbled into depression, and also people just have a bad week. It is entirely normal to just have a bad week without being burnt out. You can have a bad week without being depressed. You can have, you know, not every season of your life is going to be this like overjoyed, happy, everything is perfect, my life is so great season. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're depressed, and it doesn't mean that you're burnt out. It is so important to understand that, because you need to recognize what's actually going on in your life and then react to it the way that you should. There's a couple podcast episodes that I really, really love that talk about the difference between burnout and depression, and like how to treat burnout and, you know, all of that. So I'll link some of those and some articles. So if you don't know the difference, I'm not going to like deep dive into the difference. I'm also not a psychologist, so I feel like get your information from somebody who's credible. But yeah, I'll link some podcasts and some articles and stuff. Educate yourself about what the difference on those three things is, because that can be really crucial to you getting past whatever bad part of your life you're in. Wasn't burnt out, wasn't depressed. I was just having a bad week. Like, honestly, and not even a bad week. I was just having an off week. And that's okay. Did it mess with my head? Yes. Because I don't remember the last time that I had just like a rough week. You know, anytime that I've gone through, not anytime, but recently, the times that I've gone through kind of like down periods, whatever else, it was either because of burnout or it was because of depression, you know? Like, there was a reason. There was no reason that this week was weird. It was just a weird week. It's important to recognize that that's okay, and that's normal, and that doesn't mean that anything's wrong in your life. It doesn't mean that you did anything wrong or that anything had to happen. Nothing happened. And also, even though sometimes it can feel like, at least in the gym or like fitness health wise, for me, sometimes if I have, you know, bad week, I don't make it to the gym, whatever it is, I feel like I've lost all of my progress. Like I said earlier, it feels like I have just discredited all of the progress that I've made in the past, and also I am now going to be unable to make any progress in the future, which is ridiculous. I know why my brain thinks like that. I still think it's ridiculous that I think like that. A bad week or a week off, even if you could, like, I know so many people who train super, super hard, heavy in the gym, and then, you know, every couple months, they take a solid week, like 7+ days of not stepping foot in the gym, not focusing heavy on cardio, like nothing. You're not going to lose all progress. Your body needs the time. Your body needs time. That's why your recovery days are so important during the week. That's why giving yourself mental health days are so, so, so crucial. Like, your body needs breaks. A week off is not going to revert all of the progress that you've made so far. Not even remotely close. And that goes for anything. That's not, you know, a week off is not going to remove all progress that you've made in your mental health journey or your physical health journey, like nothing. There is no part of your life that can be irreparably damaged in a week in terms of, like, you know, your mental health and whatever else, within reason. Again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Yes, there is obviously things that can happen that could, you know, but you taking a week off, you just taking a couple days off from, like, going to the gym or really focusing on mental health growth, whatever it is, you're not going to destroy all of the progress that you've made. So you don't have to panic about that. You have to let yourself feel whatever you're feeling. People want to have this, like, grandiose idea that they can just ignore what they're feeling or what they're thinking about. You can't. There's a huge difference between acknowledging what you're feeling, acknowledging what's going on, and working past them. Like, that's what you should do. It's a whole separate thing to ignore them and just pretend that they don't exist. Because here's the thing. As much as you want to pretend that the things you're feeling or the things you're thinking about don't exist, they do exist. Maybe they're not real. Like, maybe the situations that I've created in my head that I'm, like, panicked about that week, they're not real. Like, that situation probably does not exist, but the feeling in me exists. Like, that feeling, that fear, that whatever it is, that feeling exists. And I have to acknowledge that. I don't have to sit there and dwell on it and let it consume every part of my life. I'm not saying do that. I'm not saying, like, you know, let yourself feel sad. Let yourself feel angry, feel hurt. Whatever you need to feel to get through that week, let yourself feel it. Do not let it consume every part of your life. You know? So, you know when people say, okay, here's the thing. A lot of people have the mentality of, say you go through a breakup, you are allowed to feel whatever feelings come with that breakup, whether that be sadness, anger, happiness, like whatever feeling you feel due to that breakup, due to losing a friend or whatever it is. Let yourself feel it. Give yourself a day. You have a day to lay in bed and to cry and to feel sad and to scream into a pillow, whatever you need to do. After that day, don't ignore those feelings. Don't pretend that they don't exist. But your life will continue to live, and you need to be there to live it. You know, your life is going to continue on, and you can't allow yourself to lay in bed every single day. You know, that's obviously like a very generalized example, but I think, at least for me, one of the most important things when I'm having this type of week is giving myself grace to, again, feel what I'm feeling, acknowledge that this thing exists in my life. Whatever that thing is, it exists. Even if there's nothing that, like, so this week, I didn't have, like, a concrete reason of, like, this is why I feel rough, this is why I feel up. There was no reason. But I felt like this, like, that feeling existed. It was important for me to acknowledge that it exists, acknowledge that that's what's going on in my head right now, and that's totally fine. And then I have to make the choice. I have to pick which option I'm going to go with. I'm either going to, you know, let it consume every day of my life for the next X amount of time, or acknowledge it, address it, and say, okay, here's step 1, 2, 3 on what I'm going to do to get out of this funk, or to remove myself from this situation, or to improve this feeling. And I know that's fucking hard. Like, I know that it's not as easy as just like, oh, I'm just going to do this, this, and that. No, it's not that easy. But there is definitely things you can do to make it feel less big in your life. I knew that I didn't want this to go on for another week. I had basically a full week where my brain was gone. My brain didn't exist. I felt very much like I wasn't actually existing as a person, which I don't know. Don't know where that came from. But essentially I didn't feel like I existed. I wasn't a real person. I wasn't, whatever. I didn't want that to carry on into next week at all. So yesterday, picked up my vitamins. I'm not saying vitamins fix your entire life. I am saying sometimes they fix a good chunk of it though. So, picked up magnesium and melatonin yesterday because I know that those are two things that really help me sleep. And sleep is such a huge factor on how my day goes. So I got those, sat down with myself for half an hour yesterday and planned out what I want next week to look like. So I figured out, this is what I'm training each day at the gym. These are the exercises that I'm doing so that when I get to the gym, I don't have to make that decision. I don't have to think about what I'm training, how I'm training it, anything. It's already planned out. It's already done. There's already a plan set in stone for that. I figured out what days I'm going to study. So again, don't have to wake up and be like, should I study today or should I study a different day? It's already in my calendar. I had my grocery list made so that when I ordered groceries this morning, I knew exactly what I was ordering and exactly what I was going to make this week. I have time set aside for me to plan the podcast episodes for next week. All of these little things that might not seem like huge decisions in the week, sometimes they feel like it. All of last week, I felt so overwhelmed by the amount of things that I felt that I wanted to do, but I didn't know when to do them. I didn't have the time to do them. I didn't have them written down anywhere. So it was just this endless cycle of, I should do something. I don't know what to do. Here's my entire list of things that I want to do, but now I don't know how to pick which one I should do, so I'm not going to do anything. And then I didn't do anything all week. Now it's Sunday, and I'm just now recording. Not my favorite thing to do. So yeah, that's something that works for me, is literally planning out hour by hour what my week is going to look like next week so that I don't have to wake up and make the decision of what am I going to do today? How am I going to do it? When am I doing it? And how much time is this going to take? That's already done for me, which is great. That's exactly what I need sometimes. Or I know some people, it works really well to just go for a walk, take half an hour, 45 minutes, go for a walk and think about what your 3 top accomplishments that you want for next week are. What are your 3 top goals? Whether that's, I want to eat 3 meals every single day. I want to drink X amount of water. I want to work out 4 or 5 times this week. Whatever it is. Whatever your 3 or more, if you want more. But whatever your top 3 accomplishments that you want for that next week, go for a walk with yourself and decide what those are. And make a game plan on how you're going to get there. There is ways to get out of the funk that you're in, and there's ways to set yourself up to have a better week or a better month, better whatever length of time you want it to be. There is things you can do. And I know it can be overwhelming, and I know it's scary, and sometimes it feels like we've got so many decisions to make every single day, and it can be so frustrating to know that, once you're a grown-up, you just have to make the decision. You just have to decide all the time. My entire life is making decisions, and it sucks. It's tiring, and it's mentally exhausting, and sometimes I really don't want to do it. But you have to. You're already here. You didn't decide to be born, but you're already fucking here. So you might as well make something of it. The time is going to pass either way. So you can either allow that time to pass and you be in a bad mindset, overwhelmed, whatever, or you can acknowledge that that time is going to pass and do something with it. So anyways, that's all I've really got, if I'm being honest. I didn't have a ton of plan going into this, as we can tell, but I think it's just important to kind of normalize the fact that you're going to have a bad week, even if you don't think that you're going to. Eventually, you're going to have a bad day, you're going to have a bad week, you'll have a rough month, whatever it is. And it's important to understand that you can either let yourself sit with that, let yourself sit in it, or you can make a change. You can make a difference. You can change where your life is going. Big decisions, but important decisions. So, I don't know. I think that's all I've got for this week, if I'm being entirely honest. I hope you guys have a good week. I am looking forward to next week, which is exciting. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good long weekend. I guess the long weekend's coming up this weekend because it's Easter. Easter's in March this year, which is weird. It always feels weird when it's early, but for some reason this year feels like extra weird. But it'll be the long weekend this weekend, so hopefully, I don't know, you get to spend time with some family, with some friends, or spend time with yourself. Take yourself out for a date, or do the thing that you've been putting off for a couple, I'm so grateful that you guys are still here. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an awesome week. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a review, whatever it is they let you do. It doesn't make a huge difference for you guys, but for me it really does. Also, you'll follow the Instagram, Hey From Em, and also follow me on Instagram, either Emily Brilliard or EBFit. They'll be in the description. Also, I'll say it again, even though I say it every episode, we're on YouTube, guys. So YouTube channel will be linked if you're watching on YouTube already, thanks. Hi, guys. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast and you want to watch your podcasts, you can go to YouTube. It's just Emily Brilliard. It'll be linked in the show notes. And even if you don't want to watch them, you should go subscribe anyways. Just log in, subscribe, and then never watch them. I mean, I'd like if you watched them, but I get it if you don't want to. So anyways, I need to stop talking. Yeah, I am so grateful that you guys still come back every week. It's insane. It blows my mind every week. I don't often look at the analytics, but just when I'm going to upload the episode into Spotify every week, I'll look at some of the episodes. I'm like, damn, it's a little insane that this is doing well. Okay, that's all I've got. We will chat next week, guys. Bye.